Once more from the top. Hello there, welcome to Flying Solo's Twitch Dunwich Legacy William Yorrick playthrough. We have just finished Blood on the Altar last week, and we're totally destroyed, making it the end of the engine car. Before we were defeated by monsters, taking a second physical trauma, we spent a test of will and exiled it from the game. And we earned 1 experience, so we bought a test of will. We made absolutely 0 progress in our adventure, but at least we took a physical trauma. So that's going to stick with us. Here we are at Blood on the Altar. I will read the setup here again. We had some technical difficulties a moment ago, but we're back. We're fine. Here we go. Scenario 4, Blood on the Altar. When you finally reach Dunwich, you are greeted by Zebulon Whiteley and Earl Sawyer, another man from the village who had met with Armitage during the incident several months ago. This ain't looking too good here, Earl tells you. Some folk went up and missing a few nights ago. Them whippoorwills won't shut up. Don't know what you're doing here, but sometimes dead is better. You hear me? Last time you Arkham folk came round, it was bad news. Very bad news. His eyes blink rapidly, and he coughs and looks away. Look, why don't you get some rest for the night, and look for whatever it is you're looking for tomorrow, Zebulon chimes in. Putting a wrinkled hand on your shoulder, you begin to protest. But your aching muscles and weary mind won't allow you to refuse. I feel that way after I get off a train ride, whether or not I have been engaged by cosmic entities. The town is disheveled and eerie, and you find yourself wishing you hadn't come here at all. You fall asleep on the ride over and scarcely remember anything else from that night. When you awaken, you find that Zebulon's house is abandoned, and there is no sign of the elderly man or Mr. Sawyer. Fearing the worst, you head into the village of Dunwich to investigate, hoping for answers. Yes, that was a little hasty, but I've already read it twice, so here we go. Going through the setup again now. I have allowed every single person to be kidnapped. Alright, so we put the village commons into play. We've already, with the help of Sage, we know where we made our mistakes setting up the first time. We have the hidden chamber and the key, and we take the top 3 cards off the encounter deck, which I've just shuffled, and we'll shuffle them together with these, and we will put them under random locations. And we must find the hidden chamber, but to get the hidden chamber, I'm going to assume that we need to find the key. So there's 1 under each of the random locations, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and that's exactly how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. And then we make a face-down pile of potential sacrifices, but let's read some flavor text before we get to that. Set the scene. Strange disappearances. Your welcome in Dunwich has been cold. A string of disappearances has left the already aloof townsfolk on edge. Most of them look at you with distrust. Few are willing to help you in your investigation. Who knows what will happen if you don't find the location of the missing townsfolk soon. It's always up to me. Oh my god, here comes the mythic beast. My cat, get out of here. Mythos Busters, yes, I listen to your podcast quite often. I very much enjoy it. Thank you for making it. Searching for answers. The disappearances in town may be related to the events in Arkham. You suspect that something awful is afoot. You must find where the missing townsfolk are being held in order to unveil the conspiracy. When an investigator enters the hidden chamber, we may advance. Alright, I've never played this game solo before I've decided to do this run, and it has been a terrible, harrowing experience. Maybe you guys should do a podcast on solo strategies, because I don't know any. Okay. So, as an additional setup, we're forming a face-down pile of potential sacrifices. We have Dr. Francis Morgan, who I failed to save at the casino, and Professor Warren Rice, who I failed to save at the university. I wonder why I even bothered going to either one of those places. And Earl Sawyer and Zebulon Whiteley, the 2 who picked me up and brought me into town, are now also potential sacrifices. So we're going to shuffle this pile and put the potential sacrifice pile to the side for now, although I am sure that it is only a matter of time before these potential sacrifices become KIAs. Okay, so because of the terrible play that I have made, we are forced to add 1 doom to the agenda, and this agenda has a total of 6. And our goal is to get into the hidden chamber. And we begin play in the village commons. We'll take our opening hand. resourceful, unexpected courage, a test of will. Well, I'm going to go and have to... I think maybe just more practice is going to help me. A cherished keepsake and a guard dog. We have no weapon, so we're going to... boy. I guess we'll keep the dog just in case we don't draw up a weapon. And we'll keep... Well, you know what? We'll mulligan all 4 of the other ones. Because one thing that I have found is that getting caught without a weapon is the end of the game if there is no other investigator. Lantern. While that's close enough. Treachery. We'll move that to the side. Take the initiative. ×2. And resourceful. So there's our opening hand. We've got a guard dog, lantern, 2 take the initiatives, and a resourceful. I can't say that I'm too excited about what is about to happen. Of course, we begin the game with charisma in play. And on our opening turn... Alright, let's get to work here. Here's our hand. We're in the village commons, so it is hard to prevent the impressions of a faint malign odor about the village street, as if the massed mold and decay has been around for centuries. 3 shroud, no clues, but I may resign, which I'm sure I will be back here to do before all is said and done. In fact, I'm thinking about resigning now, and saving myself another physical trauma. But I've taken the train all this way, and it's a train that had demons on it, so I suppose, you know, if you're going to take a trip. Okay, let's mark this with the 1 ring. We have 3 actions. Our first action is going to be to play the lantern. So our first 2 actions are going to be spend all of our resources and play the lantern and the guard dog. So that's 5 resources. We have the guard dog and we have the lantern. So of course the lantern will let us investigate with -1 shroud, and we can discard it to deal a damage. And also every time the dog is attacked, he can deal a damage. So even without a weapon, we have a little bit of defense. And our third action, we will travel. So from the village commons, we can reach the Bishop's Brook. We can reach Osborne's General Store, so let's just swap those. And we can reach the one that we removed. So we can only go to the Brook or the General Store. I reckon we should go to the General Store, right? So our third action will be to move to the General Store. Spend 1 resource to search the top 3 cards of your deck for an item card and add it to your hand. Well, if there are no clues here, draw the encounter card underneath Oswald's General Store. So this is 1 clue only, as I am the only investigator. And it has 3 shroud value. You know, I think that's a pretty great pickup would be to come and get these items. But that'll have to wait until next turn. Our first turn is done. So we will take a resource, 1, and a card. The cherished keepsake. Nice to see a free item there. And we will add a doom to the agenda. 2 of 6. And draw a card. Our first Mythos card of the game. Strange Signs. Test Knowledge 3. If you fail, pick up the card. If you fail, add 1 clue from the token pool to your location. 2 clues instead, if there are 3 or 4 investigators in the game. That stinks. I definitely don't want to do that, as my investigate is only 2, even with the lantern. That means I need a lucky draw. So I believe we're going to use Take the Initiative and get +3 wild icons. Let us go to the bag for the first time. -3. So we fail by 1. Take the Initiative is wasted, and we must add a clue to the location. So the General Store now has 2 clues we need to find, and that card is gone. We will use our first action of the turn to play the cherished keepsake. And the second action... My god. Well, the second action to investigate 2 against 2. So this location has a shroud value of 3, but we have the lantern. So let's try it. Let's get lucky. I'm making pulls already with needing luck. -2. That's a fail. So our third action, we're going to spend a resource to search the top 3 cards for an item. A skill, an asset, and an event. So we get none. We'll shuffle our deck. Already I can feel myself slipping downhill, down the slippery slope, stuck in the general store. My heart is heavy. We will take a resource and a card. Lord help us now, it's a stray cat. Cats and dogs living together can only happen with charisma, mass hysteria. We will add a doom to the agenda, 3 of 6, and we will draw our second Mythos card. Hunted down. This encounter set has been shuffled in because we also picked a fight with the O'Banion gang in the casino, so here we are. If there are no unengaged criminal enemies in play, it gains Surge. So nothing yet from the O'Banions. Oh, here's one. O'Banion's Thug. Well, it is engaged with me. I cannot gain resources. He has 4 fight and a 2 health. Well, he hits for 2 damage as well. So, let's fight him. Let's fight him. I have 4 attack and he has 4. So again, I would have to take a 0 attack. No advantage. Just it seems that every time I make a pull, it's at no advantage. We'll use take the initiative to get +3, so 7 against 4. And both our take the initiatives are gone, and we still haven't got a clue. 7 against 4, -1, so that's 1 hit. He takes 1 damage. He has 1 health left. What I'm going to do is discard. Wait. I don't have the resources to do that. So I am going to play my stray cat as my second ally, provoking an attack of opportunity, dealing 2 damage to the guard dog, and the guard dog will attack back, dealing 1 damage to the thug, defeating him. And now we have the dog and the cat. We have defeated it, so our ability can be activated, but we have no resources in our discard pile. So we're down to 1 card only, resourceful. We still have 2 clues that we're facing down here. So I guess we try again at 2 against 2 and hope for some luck. Or I suppose we could just draw a card, but we're already ticking against the clock. Let's just take a card. It's a second copy of Resourceful with no survivor cards in my discard pile. Wait till they get a load of me. We're done. So we take a resource and a card. Test of Will. We will doom the agenda for 4 of 6, and we will draw a card. Third Mythos card. Us, another O'Banion's Thug. Okay. Well, our turn begins, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to discard the cat to disengage with the thug. It's a fast action. So we'll put the thug back in the general store, and we're going to just say that the key isn't here, because if we spend any more time at the general store, we're going to lose the game. So there is no key at the general store. I gotta go. Like, this guy is not a hunter, so we're just going to leave him there. We'll use our first action to go back to the village commons, putting him into the general store. And our second action will be to go to Bishop's Brook. One dreads to trust the tenebrous tunnel of the bridge, yet there is no way to avoid it. Bishop's Brook. 2 clues at 3 Shroud. Of course. If there is an investigator at Bishop's Brook, other investigators cannot enter Bishop Brook. Well, I am the only investigator here, so I guess we don't have to worry about that. Although I wish somebody could help me. Sage, will you roll up a deck and come over to Shanghai, China, and join me? The table is big enough for 2. If there are no clues here, draw the encounter card. Oh my gosh. Well, this so there's 2 clues here at 3 Shroud, just like at the store, but at least here there's not a giant enemy to fight. So we have 1 action left, with which we will draw another card. A fight or flight. Well, that would have helped if we were engaged with that thug still, but as it is now, well, I'll put the hand down here. As it is now, this is just another kick in the ass. Our turn is done. We'll take a resource, and we'll take what surely will be a great card that we need. Scene of the crime. Now we got to go back to the general store. You gosh dang it! I got a dog and 2 cats over here. Oh, this is driving me nuts. I feel like I'm in the books. I feel like I'm actually losing my mind playing this game. 5th Doom on the agenda. We have accomplished absolutely nothing. Eager for death. Yes, this card just it actually just read my mind and materialized. Test my willpower 2. Increase the skill test difficulty for 1 for each damage on you. So I'm going to test willpower 4. If you fail, take 2 horror. Well, testing willpower 4. I have willpower 3. We're going to forget about trying to pass this test, so maybe we can draw a crit. Oh my god, a crit! It happened! Can you believe that? Oh boy, so we passed the test. Alright, and now we can return a card from our discard pile from our hand. Any card. So we're going to return Take the Initiative. And our first action is going to be use Take the Initiative to get this first clue 5 against 2. I'm so excited right now. Wait, no. Our first action is to be to spend 2 resources and play Scene of the Crime to grab a clue for free. Then we'll use Take the Initiative, which is now only worth 2 wild icons, to go 4 against 2 to get our second clue. Ha! A skull. -1 for each location in play with no encounter card underneath it. So that's -1 only, so we pass. We take our second clue, 1 clue, 2 clues, and we look at this card, which has got to be the key. No, it's something terrible instead. Oh, sorted and silent. Attach this to your location. At the end of each round, each investigator at this location takes a horror. When the agenda advances, discard this. Okay, well that's fine with me. That was our second action, so for our third action, we're going to get the heck out of this location. We can go to the burned ruin from here. So we will do. Okay, we will move to the burned ruin. It's not reassuring to see, on a closer glance, that most of the houses are deserted and falling to ruin. 3 Shroud, 3 clues? Each enemy has +1 evade. If there are no clues here, draw the encounter card. Oh my god. I mean... 3 clues. 1, 2, 3. There they are. That's our third action as well. 3 clues. I feel that these shroud values are just a bit too high. Just 1 too high. Give me a chance, you know. We'll take a resource and a card. Lucky, level 2. Well, that's going to be great. And that's our turn. So we advance the agenda, which means that we discard Sorted and Silent from under Bishop's Brook. The funny thing is, at the end of the game, when I turn this over, the key is going to be in the general store that I abandoned. That's what's going to happen. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Endgame yet. Right. Whippoorwills gathering along the gambrel roofs of Dunwich begin to shriek in jubilation. The people of Dunwich believe that the presence of whippoorwills foreshadows somebody's imminent death. Do they long for your death? I'm starting to long for death right about now. Or is the victim someone else? If there are 3 or more potential sacrifices, choose one of them at random and place it underneath the agenda deck without looking at it. Yep, well, there's 3 or more, so let's take there's one random one. And it is under the agenda deck. Wow. These guys are all going to come back to life and kill me later. 3 clues? Why 3? That's too many. Okay. Our turn. Oh no, we take a myth. I'm trying to get away without taking a card. A whippoorwill. There you go. Aloof hunter, and you -1 to all our stats. So he's floating around at the location there. And we got to get rid of him. But that's pretty easy. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to pay, if I use our first, we got to engage this friggin' thing. We use our first action to engage him, and our second action to defeat him. Nothing in the discard pile that we really want to use, but we're going to do it anyway. So with our -1, we're at 3 fight against his 2. So we need to get lucky. -3. We're going to just try that again. Oh my gosh. I can't use fight or flight because we don't have any horror on us. I'm not wasting the lucky because I need them to get clues. And there's nothing I want to take back with resourceful, so that I won't get back by defeating the whippoorwill. Okay, here we go again. 3 against 2. 0. So the whippoorwill is defeated, and we will pay a resource to play our friend, the stray cat, Chinese version. And that is our turn. We make no progress. That should be what I call this. This game here, the no progress game. Oh, here's my second camera. I've messed it all up. Okay, there we go. Oh boy. Okay, we take a resource and a card. Unexpected courage, that will help. And we put a doom on the agenda. 5 more remaining, and we take a mythos card. Eager for death, test willpower 2. So we have 2 damage on us, so this test is actually 4, and if we fail we take 2 horror. We got lucky with this one before. I doubt that that's going to happen again, and I actually don't want to burn all my luck with this, as we're holding the cherished keepsake anyway. Critical fail. So we take 2 horror, I'll put it both on the cherished keepsake and throw it in the garbage. There, it's gone. We take no actual horror, and we can get that back later if we need it. Our turn. That's not bad. So the first thing we're going to do is... Yep, we're just going to try and get the clue. 2 against 2. 3 clues. Why 3? Occultist. -2. If you fail, add 1 clue token from the token pool to your location. You gotta be kidding me. Now there's 4 clues here? We did... Oh, well, you know what? We're not going to fail. So we're going to pay a resource, and we're going to use lucky. Instead, we're going to take that clue. Boop. And now we're going to try and get the next clue by using resourceful. So this is going to be 3 against 2. We're going to use resourceful, and we're going to use unexpected courage to just make sure that this works. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 2. -2. Good call with the unexpected courage. So with resourceful, we can pull the lucky back to our hand. And that's another clue. And with our third action, we are going to take a resource? Or we can just try and get the clue. I suppose we'll just try and get the... we'll take the resource. Let's slow it down a bit. We'll pull a resource. And at the end of the turn, we'll pull a resource and draw a card. Gravedigger Shovel. That's nice to see. And we will doom the agenda, 2 of 6, and face the mythos. Ancient Evils. Shoot. Well, I guess we won't test of will this one. We can always test of will a later Ancient Evils. That is always horrible to see. Okay. So our turn begins again with 3 actions. And we are going to just try and get this clue 2 against 2. We are holding the lucky. Oh, that lucky was level 2, so we were meant to draw another card as well. Second Gravedigger Shovel. Excuse me. -4. That puts us to 0 against 2, so we will pay a resource to use lucky to get another +2 and pass and get the clue. See, now things are starting to turn around a bit. Things are starting to turn around. We'll draw a card. Second Guard Dog. And our clue, we're free of locations, so let's turn around and see the hidden chamber! Terrible treachery instead. Psychopump's song, Surge. Will this surge? Since I haven't taken it off the top of the deck. Does this surge? I imagine it will. That's the rule about always having to choose the worst result for yourself. Is that so? Anyway, add Psychopop's song to any investigator's threat area. When you would take 1 or more damage, take 2 additional damage and discard this card. Woof, that is a kick in the patoot. My hand is getting quite nice. Surge? That's a terrible card, and it surges? Servant of Many Mouths. Spawn at an empty location. He retaliates. After you defeat him, discover a clue at any location. Ooh, that's pretty good. He's not too terrible to fight either, so let's... Where can we go? Let's spawn him at the Congressional Church, as we're on our way over there anyhow. Yep. Okay, that's a turn. Right then. So, we'll take a resource and draw a card. Another cat. Gotta defeat that guy to get that clue, huh? Okay, that's no problem. We will try. We put a doom on the agenda, and we will pick a card. Rotting Remains. Test a horror. Test willpower 3 for each point you fail by. Take a horror. Well, we have 3 willpower. And we have nothing to boost our willpower with, so we're just gonna have to eat this. 0. We take nothing. Sometimes it rains and pours happiness all over town. And that's what's happening in Dunwich right now. We start our turn. 3 actions. Our first action is to make our way... Wait a second. I'll get fooled by this. Our first action is to play the Gravedigger Shovel. Alright, we're going to have to move our hand up here. Here's our hand. Alright, we'll play the Gravedigger Shovel for 2. Then our second action is to move to the church, where we encounter the Servant of Many Mouths. And our third action is to fight him. But let's reveal the location first. Alright. The Congressional Church has only 1 clue at 1 shroud. After this is revealed, search the encounter deck for a humanoid enemy and spawn it at the village commons. Okay. We will do just that. A mobster. Huh? The mob has come to the village looking for me. Whatever these guys think they can do to me, I've seen a demon. I fought steam on a train. I mean, how much worse can it get? Okay, so our third action is going to be to fight. So let's do that. We use the Gravedigger's Shovel, so that'll give us +2. Against his 3, so that gives us 6 against 3. This should be pretty easy. Just go up and whop him in the head with the shovel. Kaplash! -2, that's a success. That is 1 damage for him. Okay, and that is the end of the round, so he will damage 1 on us and 1 on the dog. So that'll kill the dog, but when the dog is damaged, he is killed. So he is gone. But when we take a damage, we take an extra 2 damage from Psychopomp's Song. So we are now at 5 of 8. But this is gone. So we're in a pretty bad situation, right? Yes, we are. We can play the Cherished Keepsake after defeating the enemy. We get to play 1 asset from the discard pile for free, so we'll pick this Cheapskate. Cheapskate? Keepsake. Okay. That is the end of our turn again. Oh, after we defeat him, we can discover a clue at any location. So let's discover the clue at the general store, as now looks like we must go there again, which means we wasted a lot of time by not going there. But anyway, that's 1 less clue. At 3 Shroud we'll have to worry about there. So we will doom the agenda, 5 of 6, and take a Mythos card. Ancient Evils. Well, we're going to have to test a... Sorry, we didn't take our resource in our card. We're going to have to Test of Will this, because we absolutely cannot have the Mythos advance now. So we will remove Test of Will from the game again and cancel Ancient Evils, giving us a free turn for 1 experience, because that card is out of our deck permanently until we buy it again. And now we begin... Oh, we must begin... we begin our turn. So let's just investigate here. So this is hour 2 against 0 Shroud, because of our Lantern is bringing this from 1 to 0. So only a critical fail can fail. Cultist. -2 if you fail, blah, blah, blah. But we do not fail. So we take our clue, and we can look at what's under this. Rotting Remains. Test 3 willpower for each point you fail by Take a Horror. Alright, we will do that. We will test it up real good. That means we have gone to 3 locations, and none of them, all of them were wasted time, but we know exactly where we're going now. -3, so we fail, and we lose our Cherished Keepsake, putting both our horror on our teddy bear again. Our turn. 3 actions. Let's get this going, shall we? We move to the House on the Reeds as our first action from the church. After the House of the Reeds is revealed, search the encounter deck for a Night Gaunt enemy and spawn it in the Village Commons. Oh my gosh. If there are no clues here, draw the encounter card underneath House in the Reeds. So this is another location with 1 clue, 1 shroud. But we need to put the Night Gaunt at the Village Commons, and that guy sucks. Haunting Night Gaunt, 3 fight, 4 health, 1 evade. He's a hunter, and while attempting to evade Hunting Night Gaunt, double the negative modifier for each Chaos token. So a -2 becomes a -4. He's a hunter, so we're going to leave him face up on top of the location like this. Our second action is to grab this clue. Let's get it. Right? 0 shroud location, so this is automatic unless we fail. -1, no problem. We get the only clue here, and we reveal the Hidden Chamber, which is terrible because this means that we must go back and get the key and then turn around and come back to the House in the Reeds to go to the chamber. Put the Hidden Chamber into play. The Hidden Chamber and the location from which it was drawn are connected to one another. The door to the Hidden Chamber is locked. You cannot enter unless you have the key. This was the first location we were at, and it got too dangerous, and we left it behind. Now we have to go back. Our third action. Then to go back, we're going to have to go through the village commons, I do believe, where the Night Gaunt is waiting to kill us. Okay, so our third action is going to be move to the church. Whoopsie. And we take a resource and a card, and we're coming up to our exciting conclusion. A lucky rabbit's foot. A little late to be getting that, and the agenda advances. The old one's hunger. I'm getting a little hungry as well. Feed the beast. The rhythmic screeching of the whippoorwills fill the night. If superstitions of Dunwich are correct, their song portends impending death. But for whom? Oh, and more whippoorwills flock to Dunwich Village as the night progresses. The other townsfolk, notoriously superstitious, are terrified by the bird's presence. With the doors around you shut and locked, you find yourself alone in the streets of Dunwich. If there are 2 or more potential sacrifices, choose one at random and place it underneath the agenda deck without looking at it. Will do. So, our deck of sacrifices will be shuffled, and we will place one under Feed the Beast. That's 2 under the agenda. And we'll draw a card. Oh my gosh, another Night Gaunt? You've got to be kidding me. We're engaged with a hunting Night Gaunt. That's horrible. Our turn. He takes 4 damage to kill. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use our cat to evade him. Why did anything but a Night Gaunt and we were making a comeback? Right, then we move to the... Then we're going to play our first action is going to be able to play a stray cat, because that is a fast action. That's our first action. Second action to move to the village commons. Fast action to evade this hunting Night Gaunt. But the mobster is also engaged with us. And we had... Is there any way to... Frig. So the mobster's engaged with us, and we'll move to the general store. And when we move to the general store, we take a damage from the mobster. We're at 6 of 8. Man, this is just anything but a whippoorwill. They're hunters too, so we're pretty much dead, unfortunately. We were so close. We were so close. He's going to hit us again, this mobster. So at the end of the round, enemy phase, the mobster hits us for our 7th damage. And these whippoorwills which were evaded, or these Night Gaunts which were evaded, are now hunting. So he can make it from the village commons to our location, engaging us, and he can make it from the church to the village commons, which means he'll be there 1 turn after us. Our turn is going to be rough. We doom the agenda by 1 and draw a card. Another mobster, so we're just swamped and dead, basically. I don't see how we could get out of this at all. 3 monsters, and we're fighting them with a lantern. I should have resigned. Let's see what we got, though. It's... Even if we evaded them all, we can't... That's gone. I don't see any way out of this. Discarding the lantern to deal a damage takes... That even costs... And we have 1 hit point left. So anyway, we'll fight to the bitter end. We have 4 fight, so we could get a critical. We could get lucky. We could get something. We'll fight the mobster. So this mobster with our shovel. 6 fight against his 2, -4. That's still a pass, so we hit him. And then we'll hit him again. 6 against 2. -1, he's gone, which means we can play an asset from the discard pile. Well, let's take a look and see what we've got. So we can play the cat and evade one of them, but that leaves us dead still. Play the keepsake. And those are the only assets in there, unfortunately. So we'll play the cat for 1. We'll use the cat to evade this mobster. And then we'll try and evade the Night Gaunt with our last action. Everything went terribly. We lost, like, we left the general store, we had to come all the way back. If we didn't get the key anywhere else. If we had gotten the key in any of the 3 locations, we would have used it at the house in the reeds and been on to the next part. -1, so that's -2. So we still evade this thing, so let us live another turn. But then we're re-engaged with both of them in the enemy phase. And we take a resource and a card. We doom the agenda. We get a machete finally, but a little late. Strange signs. If you fail, add a clue from the token pool to your location. Well, that's just terrible. Testing our knowledge 3. We have knowledge 2. We're going to use resourceful to go knowledge 3. And lucky rabbit's foot to go knowledge 4. So our 4 against 3 to stop for adding a clue. -1, that's a pass. So we pass that. And because we pass that, we can take any survivor card because we used resourceful. So we're going to take lucky. And on our turn, we're going to start to fight. We're still fighting. That's not bad. We'll fight. Oh wait, this hunting Night Gaunt hunted us and engaged us as well. This is a fight to the bitter end. Oh, and there's an O'Banion's thug that was here that should have been there last turn too. So yeah, we are 4 enemies. We're defeated. Yorrick defeated at the general store. Terrible. Let's read our outcome. Once again, we've gained no experience points. Scenario resolution. Well, let's see. Underneath the agenda deck. Francis Morgan and Earl Sawyer. Earl Sawyer and Francis Morgan are underneath the agenda deck. Scenario resolution, none. Physically defeated again. What's in the victory display? Let's see. 2, because we have the hidden chamber and it's got no clues on it. The cries of the whippoorwills fade into the distance, and the town of Dunwich is filled with an eerie silence. All that can be heard is the dry whistle of the chill wind and the slow rustling of dead leaves. There is no sign of the missing townsfolk, nor will there ever be again. If there are any potential sacrifices remaining at the end of the game, place them underneath the agenda deck. So that means everybody's dead. Also, Watley and Warren Rice. Each unique card that is underneath the agenda deck is removed from all players' decks, can no longer be included in any player's decks from the remainder of the campaign because they are dead. Wow, well, this is what an unsuccessful game of Arkham Horror looks like. It looks like and feels like pain and suffering. Please join us next time as we continue to just get to the end and get eaten. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Sage. Love the Mythos Busters, and we'll see you guys all on the other side.